Welcome to Ella's Beef Easter's Radio Aircheck and Classic TV channel.
This is Frank Lieber. Exclusive interviews with the biggest names in baseball and football. Joe Namath, Johnny Bench, Leroy Kelly, Reggie Jackson. They were all at the recently concluded American Airlines Golf Classic in Puerto Rico, and so were we. Here are informal chats with the superstars each morning at 8:15 and each evening at 9:50. Another service of KRLD Sports.
The latest American Research Bureau survey reports KRLD Dallas continues to have more audience than any other Dallas radio station.
CBS News. The FBI in Berkeley, California says a search is on for a young couple wanted as possible suspects in the terrorist kidnapping of newspaper heiress Patricia Hearst. This is John Meyer reporting on the CBS radio network. That announcement in California marks the first major break in the case since the terrorist Symbionese Liberation Army claimed last week that it had kidnapped Miss Hearst and is holding her as a political prisoner. Reporters were given a description of the wanted couple by Thomas Druken, Assistant Special Agent in charge of the San Francisco FBI office.
We determined during the course of our investigation that a dark, late model Volkswagen was in the immediate area of the kidnapping, occupied by a white male and white female. Now, we're merely attempting to locate these individuals as potential witnesses.
Druken noted that the FBI already has released drawings of 3 suspects, 2 young black men and a white woman, who invaded Miss Hearst's apartment, attacked her fiancé, and then, firing shots at witnesses, dragged her screaming to a waiting car and drove off. More news in a moment.
Oh, hello, Mr. Carlson. And how are you today?
Oh, fine, just fine. How about yourself, Gladys?
Oh, I'm pretty good, thank you.
Yeah.
Now, let's see what we've got here. Toothpaste, razor blades, prunes.
Is something wrong?
Can we have a replacement checker for Gladys on number 5, please?
There are still a lot of people who laugh at prunes. But now, quite a few are finding out how good they really are. Because pound for pound, prunes have 8 times the vitamin A of the leading fresh fruit. And more iron, niacin, and vitamin B2 than the 5 leading fresh fruits. They're also a great natural source of quick energy.
Oh, I'm sorry to keep you waiting, sir. I'm taking Gladys's place.
That's okay.
Let me see. Bread, milk, prunes.
Oh, boy. California prunes. The funny fruit that does so much for you.
Radio Baghdad says warfare has broken out between Iraq and Iran with troops, heavy artillery, and tanks engaged in fighting along the border. Heavy casualties are reported on both sides. Iran lists at least 70 casualties. The Iraqis at least 23 killed or wounded. It's the first such fighting since the two countries reinstated diplomatic relations last October after a 5-year break. Radio Baghdad also claims today's clashes were actually the third in 3 weeks, that there was also fighting on January 24th and again last Monday. In Tel Aviv, the Israeli military command confirms 4 Israeli soldiers wounded today in renewed fighting between Syrian and Israeli forces in the Golan Heights. That artillery duel ended a 4-day lull along the ceasefire line. Radio Damascus says the fighting lasted more than an hour, but has made no mention of Syrian casualties. Meanwhile, in Jerusalem, the Israeli government says Russia will try to persuade Syria to turn over lists of Israeli prisoners of war being held in Damascus. Those lists, plus Syrian permission to let the International Red Cross visit the POWs, are the top Israeli conditions for beginning disengagement talks with Syria. In Amman, a Jordanian army spokesman confirmed today that the Nixon administration has supplied that Arab country with the most sophisticated portable anti-tank missile in the U.S. arsenal. The spokesman identifies the missile as the TOW. Here in Washington, the Pentagon declines comment. In Saigon, the South Vietnamese military command says communist forces have suffered their heaviest battle losses in a single action this year. The spokesman says 81 communist troops were killed in a 2-day battle with government forces in the Central Highlands province of Pleiku. Government losses are placed at 17 killed, 15 wounded. In Cambodia today, communist troops attacked 3 government positions only 8 miles south of the capital, Phnom Penh, and a government spokesman says an army relief column, led by 24 armored personnel carriers, had to retreat when it came under heavy communist fire. Now, this message.
Time will come when you need help and understanding. A world smile, a friendly voice from people who care. It's a plastic world, and that's the truth. Tough and dusty, but when you find friendly folks, it's easier to bear.
Is there anyone who doesn't respond to a kind word or a friendly face? The answer's obvious. At CIT Financial Services, courtesy and understanding are watchwords. Sure, we make money happen, but we do it quietly, quickly, without embarrassment. So whenever you need a loan, and some kind words to go with it, drop into your nearest CIT office. We'd really like to make money happen for you.
CIT makes money happen. We really do.
The Nixon administration's energy czar, William Simon, has announced that the major oil companies can now begin refining more gasoline if they have produced enough home heating oil to last out the winter. Simon's long-awaited announcement on shifting refinery output comes as motorists in 4 states, plus the District of Columbia, prepare to switch to the so-called Oregon plan for gasoline rationing. The leaders of 13 major oil-consuming countries have been arriving here in Washington on the eve of tomorrow's opening session of a 2-day conference on energy at the foreign ministers level. U.S. Secretary of State Henry Kissinger expected to try to persuade his 12 colleagues that they must act in concert with the United States to weather the world oil crisis. This is John Meyer, CBS News.
Hello?
Hello, Mrs. William Houck of Anchorage, Alaska.
Yes?
Hi, Mrs. Houck. My name is Ted Brown from New York City. And I'm calling ladies in Anchorage, asking if you'd like to have some fun and sing the Campbell Soup jingle. If you do, I'll send you a case of Campbell's chicken with rice soup.
Is this really from New York?
That's right. Do you know it?
Yes, I do.
Well, go ahead.
Good. Good. Campbell's noodle soup is good.
Well, now, you changed the lyric a little bit, but you're going to get the soup anyway.
Thank you.
You're up there in Anchorage, Alaska, so you know what the cold winters are all about, huh?
Right, I sure do.
And when that weather leaves you cold, you get good hot Campbell's soup, and that leaves you warm.
Yes, sir.
It's exciting for me to talk to you, too, by the way. I've never called Anchorage, Alaska.
Well, call again. This is really unusual. Thank you very much.
Mrs. Hawk, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Bye-bye.
The preceding recorded message was selected from random phone calls.